welcome to Cheap Joe's Art Stuff. My name is Julie and I'm here to impart some knowledge to you today via a 2-minute art tip. And today's tip is less technical, more cerebral, but I wanted to share with you kind of a strange little story and about how this came to my brain. My daughter is in college and she's studying advertising. She was in a class that was specifically about art for social change, and how do you affect viewers with imagery and all that kind of stuff. They were given the assignment to read an essay and be prepared to discuss it at length in a group forum, and be able to cite some specific examples and stuff like this. So she's home, she's reading this thing, and she was struggling. She had reread like the first 3 pages probably 5 times, like feeling like she was drifting into some parallel universe that she wasn't understanding. And so she actually said, "Mom, I'm lost. Could you like read some of this and see if you can understand where this is going, because I don't." And I was like, absolutely. And I was like, yeah, I want to read some art literature. Yeah, I want to know about it, So I sit down and I am just blown away. I mean, complete word spaghetti. I was like, this is impossible. Like, I can't even hang with this. What? It was like 7 different swirling ideas within the same paragraph, and just all this kind of stuff just going on. And I was like, who is this dude? And so then I looked him up online, because I was like, what is going on? How am I aging this badly? Like, I do not understand this. But it turns out the name of the piece was Art in the Age of Mechanical Reproduction, and it was written by a gentleman named Walter Benjamin. It looks like Benjamin, but it's Benjamin. He was alive at the turn of the century, from like the 1890s, and he died in 1940s. In the 1920s and 30s was his most prolific, like, working time and stuff. So this essay that I was reading here is like 100 years old, and I'm sitting here just absolutely flabbergasted that the bits that I am picking out are very cogent arguments for things that are going on right now, in terms of how the art object gets altered just by way of electronic reproduction and communication and stuff like that. His big point, when we finally got to it, took a while, and we used the assistance of a couple of art podcasts to kind of like help us understand where Walter lived in his head. Because apparently he was known for his writings being difficult and even incomprehensible at times. So it made me feel a little bit better that I wasn't completely losing it. But, in reading his essay, it made me start to think about how mass technology and electronic communication has changed the art landscape, in some ways for the good, because you have access to an audience that, at the time he was writing this, that never would have existed, because you're basically constrained to your local audience, people that you knew in a fairly small community and stuff, or maybe even regionally. Mass technology and being able to communicate with those people also means that you have less direct connection with the actual piece. And there's a lot of instances where I feel like it doesn't matter what I do, aside from, sometimes there's some measured improvement when I can get a professional photographer to photograph my work, but there's something that's lost in that kind of translation. And I kind of think that's why these days, especially like on Instagram or TikTok or Patreon or whatever, you get this kind of visceral reaction that you don't get just seeing a static picture, where the viewer is interacting with the artist because they are seeing the process. They're seeing the process of creation, in a real-time kind of setting and stuff. And so it makes up for the fact that you have that kind of technological distance when you're just seeing a picture of a piece and stuff like that. Now, we can go into AI and all that kind of junk, but, oh, Lord, I get sweaty talking about that. But, it's the exact same concept that I have mentioned before about my friend Leslie and I having about the art object itself, that it has to have a presence on its own, a physicality, something that brings it to life. And I think that there's some, several instances where I was astonished at how much more alive and feeling a piece was when I actually viewed it in person. And, Ben Hameen makes another really interesting point in there about how industrialization and the commodification of art reduces it to just a product, like a thing. And you see that all the time with like Warhol actually was exploring that whole idea where you're taking art and you're making it into like an advertising commodity object and stuff like that. So that whole thing has, been explored already. But it almost erodes that kind of connected power that art has with the viewer. So I encourage you guys to show and show often. And yes, you can find customers on Instagram or whatever and sell your stuff in that venue. But there is nothing like seeing a piece in person. And I know from personal experience, some things that just changed my viewpoint entirely when I saw them in person, like Andrew Wyeth was much more vibrant and alive than it ever looked in a photograph. The same thing with John Singer Sargent. They had some of these at the Biltmore, and I was able to go see them there years ago, as well as Vincent van Gogh. This was one of my favorite ones that I was just absolutely mystified by. So in order to kind of keep that last little vestige of connection and the human connection to art, I think it's very important to show often, support your friends, go and see their art in person, make the trip and go see all those important art pieces that you're interested in, because it keeps them alive, and keeps that connection clear. So think about art as an object and preserving the aura and the magic of the art and its connection to being a human and what it means. So hope this was helpful and hope that you enjoy.